Good morning, it's Janet here from World Without Wine, and this morning I'm going to talk to you about doing a dry December. We all know about dry January, don't we? But dry December, well, that's just a little bit different. When I lived in the UK, I always remember it was about September that the Christmas stuff would start. You'd see Christmas cards in the shops. The Christmas lights would start getting fixed in the big roads in town. It was just there. It had started. And for me, there would be a mental cue. A cue that said, oh, Christmas, okay. So Christmas, that means, what does Christmas mean? It means that, well, the weather's going to get dreadful from now onwards. The traffic's going to get awful. There'll be lots of Christmas stuff around. There'll be plenty of parties. So that was my reason really to ramp up the drinking, because also at the back of my mind I would be thinking, well, I'll do dry January as usual, so might as well put it off to January. The fact that my dry Januaries were pretty useless. I mean, I used to more or less get through, but I would be white knuckling it through. I'd be counting the days, and come February I would more than make up with what I hadn't drunk in January. So that was my Christmas ramp up of the drinking. But I'm older now, I'm much older now, and I'm much wiser. And now I understand that there were 3 things that I needed back then if I really wanted to change my drinking, and 3 things that everybody needs if they want to make a change. The first thing we need is a mindset change. We need to realise that alcohol is not a magic potion that is going to enhance our life. In fact, alcohol is an addictive drug, and it can prevent us from reaching our potential, and in the worst cases it can destroy us. So we need to change our thinking around alcohol. And secondly, we need some practical help, because we have to navigate wherever you're watching this from, whether it's UK, US, South Africa. You're very likely to live in an alcohol-drenched society. So we need some help, some practical help to navigate that society. And most importantly of all, we need to connect with other people on the same path. Because what we're doing here is we're peeling off from the herd. And as human beings, that feels uncomfortable. We make ourselves vulnerable. So we need to connect with other people that are doing this. Other people who will convince us that no, we're not crazy, as our drinking buddies will tell us. So 3 things: mindset change, practical help, and connection. And we've got all of those things covered in our fundraiser, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But first of all, I'm going to talk about 7 reasons to do a dry December. But before I do that, I'm going to see if there's anybody there. Flick, thank goodness. Lynette, hello Lynette. And Irene, and Anne-Marie, hello from South Africa. Hi Anne-Marie, I'm in South Africa too. So let's get started then with our 7 things. Thing number 1. Well, it's so easy to get into that mindset, that thinking that I was in back in the UK. It's the festive season, especially we're already in December. And then you're thinking, I'll cut down in January, I'll do that dry January thing. And I think this year there's going to be an element of, oh, what a nightmare year this has been. You know, let's face it, we're lucky to be alive, so let's just relax and celebrate a bit. So there's all this thinking going to be happening. But we need to remember that drinking alcohol is a slippery slope. And sometimes we just need to apply the brakes and make a conscious effort to monitor our consumption. Number 2, there's never going to be a perfect time to change our drinking, is there? There's always going to be a party or a wedding or a function or something that involves drinking. But this year is kind of different. Unprecedented is the word that all the journalists use, isn't it? It's kind of different, and my perception, well, in the people that I know anyway, is that the socialising thing is calmed down dramatically, And maybe it's just because I don't drink anymore, but I've hardly been invited to anything this December. I don't think that people are getting together physically as much as they usually do. So that means that you could actually make this change. You could do a dry December and it could be under the radar. So your friends might not even realise that you're doing this crazy thing. Because let's face it, alcohol is the only drug that we have to justify not taking. It's absolutely crazy, but that's how society is set up. So we have to somehow navigate that and fit in with that. So it could be a good time to try a dry December. That's 2 reasons. Let's go on to number 3. Now, 20% of regular drinkers, and by regular drinkers I'm not talking about people that drink a bottle of wine every evening. I'm talking about people that drink socially. They'll have a couple of glasses of wine now and again when they're out. But 20% of those people will become dependent over the years. It's insidious, and somehow it certainly happened with me during my 40s. Somehow I shifted from being a social drinker to somebody that needed a drink in the evenings to de-stress or to relax. You start using alcohol to self-medicate, and that's a real warning sign. So the trick to make sure that you're not in this 20% is to take regular breaks. Just think of it as, we have a medical every year, we have to do a health check. And if you just breeze through 30 days without alcohol, then that's fantastic. And, I'm so jealous, but we won't get there. But if you can get through 30 days without a drink and it doesn't bother you, then you have no problem with your relationship with alcohol. In fact, I'd say you have an excellent relationship with alcohol. But if you really struggle to get through those 30 days, or if you fail, or if you fall off the bus lots of times, or even worse, if you can't even contemplate the idea of 30 days without alcohol, then that means that you really need to make a serious change. And we're here for you. Number 4, always remember that drinking more than 1.5 bottles of wine a week can harm your physical and your mental health. I'm not going to go into that now because I've done other Facebook Lives on that. We've got loads of blogs, loads of information, but trust me, it does. But bearing in mind that those are the low risk limits, as they call them now, I think that's quite interesting. I've noticed in the UK they've changed these limits from what they used to call safe limits, and now they call them low risk limits. So there's quite a subtle shift there, but it's a definite change. So even if you're not drinking excessively, but you're drinking a little bit more than 1.5 bottles of wine a week, then do a dry December. And then when you do start drinking again, we'll be in January by then, you'll find it much easier to reset your drinking habits to make sure that you're only drinking within those low risk limits. So number 5, let's talk about anxiety. I was in the Woolies car park this morning, and it was crazy. People were buying loads of stuff, and they were beeping at each other, and there was just this vibe, this anxious vibe. And I think the run up to the festive season is renowned for that, isn't it? And also the kind of family stuff, we connect with our families who maybe we haven't seen for a while, and it's the festive season is renowned for family arguments, isn't it? Which is normally fueled by alcohol. But always remember that drinking alcohol is like throwing gasoline on the fire of your anxiety. So it's going to ramp up those anxious feelings. So how about a nice serene festive season with no arguments, might be quieter than usual, but then you get to start 2021 feeling calm and positive and not exhausted and hungover and overweight and all those things. You won't have to start on the 1st of January by not drinking and going on a diet. That is just a miserable loop to be in. Number 6. Now, if you've been drinking for decades, you might be very skeptical about taking a month off the booze. I mean, how can that help my health? You know, I've been drinking so much, surely a month off isn't going to make any difference. Well, the amazing thing is, I mean, here's the thing, alcohol is so toxic that just taking a month off has significant health benefits. It's like your body goes, oh, thank goodness she stopped pouring that poison down my throat every day. There was a study done in London, you can Google it, it was done at the New Scientist magazine, and they took a group of people who did dry January, and they did some health tests at the beginning of their dry January and at the end. And in every single case, there was a reduction in the people's liver stiffness, cholesterol and blood pressure. In every case, and these were significant changes. And the scientist that did this, he was a doctor as well, he said those results were staggering. So remember, it will take about 7 to 10 days for your body to detox, and so the first part of your dry December might be a bit glum, you know, it might feel a bit difficult, but you know, drink lots of water, keep going, and after that period you'll find that your skin will clear and look better, you'll be sleeping better, and most importantly, your mood will improve. So last reason now, reason number 7. It'll free up some mental space. It'll calm you. If you're anything like me, in my drinking days, my mind used to be full of stuff like, oh, how much did I drink last night? And what did I say to who? And how many units have I got left for the week? And how am I going to cope with that party on Friday? And why is that person not speaking to me, and why is my husband looking sulky and miserable today? My mind was full of this stuff. But when you stop drinking, your life becomes simpler, it becomes calmer, you find peace, and you won't always have that nagging feeling in your heart telling you that you must do something about your drinking. So that's my 7 reasons. I could probably give you 27, but I'm sure you don't have all morning to listen to me. So at the beginning, do you remember I said that there's 3 things that we need to change our drinking? We need to change our mindsets, we need some practical help, and we need to connect with other people on the same path. So we've got all of those things covered for our annual fundraiser. I get really annoying at this time of year because I bang on and on about our fundraiser endlessly, but it's very close to my heart. We've done it for the last 5 years. We've raised $250,000 for this fabulous NGO, and I'm afraid I do keep talking about it until it closes, which isn't until the end of January. So if by any chance you haven't heard about our fundraiser yet, let me just tell you how it works. So you make a donation, which is in line with what you can afford. It actually costs 250 Rand to sponsor one child for a year of yoga and life skill classes. So you can either donate 250 Rand to sponsor one child, or you can sponsor 10 children, or you can sponsor a portion of a child, whatever you can afford. We're delighted to receive anything. And what happens is when we receive your donation, we come right back to you and we ask you when you would like to start, because our fundraiser runs from now until the end of January. And what you need to do is choose your 30-day window, because we support you, we give you online and community support for 30 days. So you just need to tell us when you want to start. And we're raising money for the Earthchild projects. You can Google them, see what they do. It's a beautiful project. It's been running for 14 years. I've interviewed the founder for the podcast, which will go out in a couple of weeks. And they basically offer yoga and life skills training for children in the townships of the Western Cape. So we've, as I said, we've managed through the generosity of our donors to raise 250,000 in the last 5 years, and that's changed the lives of 1,000 children. And we've already raised 7,000 rand. I mean, we're in the early stages of this fundraiser, but just this morning we got 8 donations. So I'm just going to give a little shout out to Carlin and Merlene and Nikki and Barbara and Marianne and Flick and Shalene and Irene, who all made a donation this morning. So thanks, guys. So that's me done for my Facebook Live. I'm just going to say hello to a few people. Hi Flick and Lynette and Irene and Anne-Marie. And yeah, we need a mindset change. Lynette loves our fundraiser. She's been supporting it avidly for years now. Yeah. People talking about COVID fatigue. It is fatigue making, but we have to get through this, and I think we're so much more likely to get through it if we ditch the booze, because we're just adding to our fatigue and anxiety with it. Yes, Anne-Marie, dry December and forever. That's what I like. Yes, nice, serene, festive season. Yep, no guilt. Yes, Vaughan, who needs guilt? Life is too short. But I do say to people, ditch the drink, because we're not the bad guy here. Alcohol is the bad guy. It's an addictive drug. It's foisted on us day after day, year after year. And some of us are going to get hooked. And maybe we're in that 20%, but we're being brave and we're doing something about it, which is probably more than 95% of the world's drinkers are doing. It wouldn't even occur to many people to make a change. Okay, Flick, you've done me a little summary. How lovely, thank you. Yes, indeed. Oh, it's lovely to see it all written down. I think we can try and get some subtitles up. That's always a bit of a battle, but thank you so much for taking note of it. And the New Scientist study, yes, do look that up. Thanks for the summary. Okay guys, I'm going to go now and have my coffee, so thank you so much for tuning in.